I want to give it every chance to get picked off by the holes. You got to see where the holes are, okay? Then you can make the decision to dodge the holes if you want to. I'll point it out to you, but you gotta see the thing get plucked by all those weird circumstances that can never happen. Strategists make strategies. Oh, this will never happen. Well, guess what? I make it happen every freaking day. Now, I want to address a couple things. So I've got a few comments that I want to pull up here today and really talk through. So one comment that I got yesterday, and this is in relation to the storm video. This comes from Darksider, who's always active in chats. He and I email quite a bit. He's a good dude. And we don't agree on everything, which is fine. I know he and Myopia have disagreed on a few things, and that's fine too. I want to read you this comment from him, and then we're going to talk about like my reaction to it and just kind of the truth and fallacy of the matter. He says, John, if a player gets beat twice by a shooter with passes on the point with the storm, you stop. If there's a 7, until there's a 7 out. If a player continues to buckshot a pass trend, or a player continues to buck a pass trend, then they deserve to lose every penny. He's talking about me going back out. He said, this is the problem with mechanical play, regardless of circumstance. Second note he sent to me was, if you keep playing a heater pass trend, then you deserve to lose. How about playing smart? Now, again, the insinuation here is that I'm playing dumb. I want to address all that. There's so much to unpack in that quote there. When I do the daily paychecks, and eventually when I go ahead and do the stop loss zero show, where my intention is to run a strategy to zero, not win with it, there's a reason why I play mechanically. Okay, A, most players do. B, most players who come up with strategies, or most strategists, think their strategy is going to work, right? So you got to play it. I got to play it as written. You got to see the holes. If I dodge bullets, if I'm out there doing the matrix, and every time I see a 7 or 2 7s, I get out of the way. And then the strategy, you can't see the strategy work. What you're seeing in that circumstance is me thinking that I can outsmart the game and make a move based on what I'm seeing on the table. While there may be truth in that, or while there may be goodness in that, that's not the purpose of what I'm doing. The purpose of what I'm doing is showing you the strategy. I want to give it every chance to get picked off by the holes. You got to see where the holes are, okay? Then you can make the decision to dodge the holes if you want to. I'll point it out to you, but you got to see the thing get plucked by all those weird circumstances that can never happen. Strategists make strategies. Oh, this will never happen. Well, guess what? I make it happen every freaking day. So I do the show for the purpose of showing you where the holes are, what happens when you hit the holes, can you come back after the holes get hit, right? That's the point of why I play mechanically on both the paycheck and eventually on the stop loss zero show. There's a purpose behind why I do what I do. So that's the reason why. Now, I know that, Jen's asked me to play the way I would play, like, dodge the bullet, whatever, read the table, all those things. I can't do that. As an educator, I can't do that. As an educator, I think my first role of responsibility is to show you the strategies as written, play them out as written, let the dice do what they're going to do. I think that's important for everybody to see, because I can say it a million times. I can say that you're a loser, your strategy sucks. All the videos I put out that say the same thing, it means nothing if you don't watch a strategy get picked. If you don't watch me destroy a strategy, my words mean nothing. You got to see it happen. And that's why I do it. It's important to me to play them straight up. Okay. Now, I can point out during the rollouts, here's a point in time, folks, where you might want to not come back on the don't. Here's a point in time, folks, where you might want to go in heavier up on the line. Here's a point in time, folks, where you might want to hammer the don't with a press because you're seeing the trend or the streak. I'll point that out to you, but I won't actually do it. I'm going to play it straight up. And I think it's an important thing. Now, the other piece of it, he says here in the end, about the mechanical piece, right? This is the problem with mechanical play, regardless of the circumstances. And he says, if I get picked off twice on the don't, get out, wait till the next shooter. That to me, and I disagree with that on one level, which is this, math. Okay, the math don't care about you dodging a bullet. And we have to be honest about this. And I think I get it. In the moment, I got $1,000 in the rail. I've lost $200 on the don't to the same shooter. I'm not going to give him I'm not giving him any more money. Like I'm in a bad trend, right? When you're in a bad trend, the rule should be bet low in a bad trend, bet high in a good trend for you, right? You should pull back a little bit, right? I agree with that. However, the dice don't know. right? Ultimately, if you back off for 2 rolls and you wait 50 rolls to go back out again, and you're back out for 2 rolls, you're still back out for 2 rolls, right? You're going to lose 1/6 of every don't pass come out roll. Whether the shooter's hot or not, that's going to go down. If you wait 50 rolls between them, or you take 50 rolls in a row, you're still losing 1/6. You're just delaying when it's going to happen, right? A shooter could pick you off twice. You can wait for him to roll his 50 rolls. Next shooter comes out, you go back out again. That guy picks you off twice too. There's no guarantee that the next shooter is going to be worse or better, right? I prefer to just let it happen. Let the streak resolve itself. I think through smart betting, you can overcome a bad streak and hammer a good streak if you just ride it through, if you have the bankroll to do it. I think the bankroll is the key there. So I don't necessarily agree with pulling out. I'll pull down, I'll pull back, but I'm not going to just completely dodge, right? That's just again, and that's me. Darksider can do it the way he wants to do it. A lot of people do that, right? The table's hot, the table's cold. I'm going to get in, I'm going to get out. Cool. Again, we said it last week. Play the way you want to play, right? Go down. I'm going to go down swinging. I'm going to go down with, hey, we got picked off 3 times in a don't. I'm going to keep my bets as low as possible. And when it starts to come back, and it will come back, bam, 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 I'm going to raise those bets up and start beating the good streak. It's the way I do it. Waylon does it with the don'ts getting beat. I'm going to ladder, I'm going to ladder, I'm going to ladder. He ladders up in the bad times. Darksider wants to run away in the bad times. All 3 of us are right. All 3 of us are wrong. There's no good way to do it. The dice don't give a crap what you're doing. That's an important thing to remember. The dice don't care, okay? You're going to lose 1/6 of those come out rolls, shit runner go blind. You're going to lose 40% of your don't pass bets, shit runner go blind once the point is set. That's a fact. You're going to lose 40% of the don't pass bets with odds once a point is established. You can't fight that. Whether you're not betting or whether you're betting, it's going to happen either way. You're just delaying it. So I think do what you want to do, right? And I think it's an important thing to know. The math doesn't care over the course of a long time. And I've proven this so many times, right? 10,000 rolls, right? You may not be 10,000 rolls in an exact sitting there at the table, but today, tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, today, an hour wait, coming back in, you're still seeing 10,000 rolls. You're just putting gaps in there. And the gaps, they may hide you from some bad stuff during that period of time. Doesn't mean the bad stuff won't still happen. So I don't worry about that so much. I just don't. And I know Darksider is going to come back and give me a couple of things. Let me put this out here. Yeah, and you're right? You're saying it wasn't about come out the roll, the point winners. And again, if you believe in the math of this, or the like drunk guy explains would say, the probabilities of this, right? The come out winners you will lose 1/6 of. The points, you're going to lose 40% of those points. You know, and I know, the fire bet rarely gets hit, right? The 3, 4, 5 point fire bet rarely gets hit, right? Most shooters don't make 3 points. You start seeing a shooter make 2 points or 3 points. If you believe on the other side of this thing, like what's about to happen or what's due, that's the time to be in there, not be out of there. Follow what I'm saying? So you could be reading the table and saying, well, this is happening, let me get out, or this happened, and I know that this is probably not going to happen based on the history of the world. Let me go heavier on that. That's the DGE way of doing it. You can attack that same trend that you're going to run from. And I think, again, are you both right? Yeah. Are you both wrong? Yeah. Does the math care? No. Over the course of time, it all evens out. Just a matter of when you're there. I think that's the thing. I have very rarely seen 6 or 7 passes in a row. I mean, it happens, but it's so rare. It's so very rare that happens. And and again, what I'll do, that's table minimum bets for me. I'm not going out there table minimum max odds when I'm seeing 5, 6, 7 in a row. I'm going to be table minimum, ride it out, and when we get the miss, then we start going in the positive direction. I'm definitely a minimum go high in that case. So again, it's all up to you. I said this last week. Win or lose the way you want to win or lose. You just got to know what's going to happen. Like you got to know the math. Like the dice don't care, the math don't care. You're going to end up going down either way, right? If this shooter makes 3 passes and you decide to jump out and wait for the next shooter could just as easily make 3 passes on you, right? Waiting doesn't matter. Whatever happens, happens. And that you guys got to be aware of that. You just got to be aware of the fact that just because you're not playing doesn't mean you're winning. It just means you're not losing now. And that's the most important takeaway. You're not winning, you're not losing now when you're not playing. 5 count, same thing. You're not losing now. On the 6th roll, you put your money out and then you lose. Dice don't give a shit. That's my point. I'm not saying right or wrong here, just that opinion of it. And I think you just have to realize that the math is the math, the longevity of the rolls, the long rolls that we see, that's a real thing. So there's that. Black and white, I hear you. I hear you. Here's what's going to happen in Windcrafts though, and I've done this. And I will prove this to you and everybody else next week when we start doing the stop loss zero shows. If I do the storm as is, no mechanical play, right? It goes to 0 against my rolls in I think it goes to 0 in 350 rolls. Okay. But I think 350 is when it goes down. Something like that. It goes to 0. If I put the logic into Windcrafts, this is after 2 points made, stop betting to the next shooter. It goes to 0 in 1,500 rolls. If I say do it after 1-7, it goes to 0 in 600 rolls. Okay. It still goes to 0. It just goes to 0 tomorrow. It doesn't go to 0 right now. It doesn't matter. Ultimately, you're going to win more often. You're right. If you stop playing, you're going to lose less in the moment. Over time, it doesn't matter. Over 50,000 rolls, you're still going to go to 0. You're just going to go to 0 in longer stretches. And if in those long stretches you play better, you play smarter, you can pick up more paychecks along the way, but you're still going to run it down to 0. That's just the way it is. And I can't overstate that enough. When you're playing, if you're pulling money back, right, like we talk about, regress down, take your paycheck and run, take your paycheck and run. You can pick up 15 paychecks along the way, but you're still going to have a net negative at the end, right? I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that's how it works, right? I've done it. I've done the math just like you have, right? Yeah, stick to your win goal and get out. This is why, and let me also say this, because everybody has to hear this too, because you're right about this, but you're also, we got to be careful about this, right? 20% win goal, 10% win goal, whatever your win goal is, right? Earn it, pull it, earn it, pull it, earn it, pull it. Boom, you go down. Stop loss 0 has to be a thing. You go down to 0, those 20% wins, those 10% wins, it takes you 5-10 times to get back that loss. So win goals are great until you lose it all. And you got to remember that too. We've seen that in the daily paycheck, how critical it is. How critical it is to manage all that. There's so much to this, right? And I think I'm glad you're bringing it up. I think it's great.